These are the top 10 fishing lines for any budget. We have Mono, Flouro, Braid. We have a couple bonus lines thrown in there as well. It's going to be a good one, so stay tuned. As always, I have links down below for all of the lines, and if there's one that you don't agree with, let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk about it with you. The first section we're going to cover here is monofilament lines. Now, for each one of these categories, I have thrown in a best budget or a best value line, which is basically, in my opinion, for the money, it's the best one. Not that it's more expensive or cheaper, just for the money, the best. And for the monofilament category, the best budget line is going to be P-Line FluoroClear. Now, this is a fluorocarbon coated line, so you could make the claim that this is technically fluorocarbon, but in reality here, this is a monofilament line that is fluorocarbon coated. So I still count this as a monofilament line. It still has stretch. It still has a lot of the qualities that mono has. And it's coming in at around $9 at a great price point. This is my personal favorite of all the monofilament lines that I'm going to be talking about today. I have been using this stuff for probably 5-6 years. At the shop, this is what I rig up a lot of my customers when they're coming in, wanting a new rod and reel. This is what I get them, and they just love it. It's a phenomenal line for $9. Now, the second line I have here for the monofilament section, it's a little bit pricier than the FluoroClear, but it's another brand like P-Line that you're going to see a lot in this list because they just make really high quality line, and that is the Suffix Advance. So this is a really good line. This is another one when people are looking for mono specifically, this is a great line to give them because it has a lot of stretch. It's really strong. For mono, this is pretty hard to see, I would actually say. A lot of times mono is a little thicker diameter than fluorocarbon, but this one's pretty hard to see as well. This one's very popular for bass fishermen. I see a lot of bass guys that are running like a topwater or something where they want monofilament. This is a line that I see a lot of guys run. We sell a lot of it in the shop. People really like this line. Now, the last line I'm going to talk about for the monofilament here is going to be the Maxima Ultra Green. Now, for me, I have a very specific purpose for this line. I think of all the monos I've used in my life, this has the most stretch of any line I've ever had. And for that exact reason is why I use this on all of my trolling rods. So all of my kokanee videos that you guys have seen on my channel, all of those kokanee, trout, the Lakers, like anything I've caught trolling with my bait cast trolling rod setups, my downrigger rods, has been with this line right here. I run solely Maxima, a kokanee angler that I kind of learned a lot of my fishing from. He was the one that recommended this. I put this on and I haven't switched. I haven't looked back. It's just phenomenal line. It is coming in at about $18, so it's a little bit pricier, but for trolling guys, you're gonna have the same line for probably a couple years. I haven't swapped my line out in 2 or 3 years and it's still going pretty strong. So you're gonna get, a good life out of this. This is really high quality line, kind of an underrated brand. I feel like Maxima doesn't get talked about enough, but for trolling guys, this is an awesome line. All right, now let's go over to Fluorocarbon here. You're looking for a little bit more bite detection, right? You want a thinner line. It's harder for the fish to see. You don't want that stretch. This is going to be your fluorocarbon applications right here. And starting off for the best budget fluorocarbon line or the best value line, for the money, this is going to be the Seagar Red Label. Now, this is coming in at about $15. This is another one when people come into the shop and they're wanting to get a smallmouth setup or something where they don't want monofilament, they're not ready to use braid yet, they want to use a fluorocarbon line, they don't want to spend a whole ton. This is going to be the best value line for the money. Fluorocarbon is a lot more expensive than mono, so it's something to think about here. If you're wanting to try to stay down in price a little bit and you're wanting to still get a good line, I would 100% recommend the Red Label. It's awesome stuff. Now, the next line on this list is also by P-Line, but this is the P-Line 100% fluorocarbon. So unlike this one, which is just fluorocarbon coated, this is P-Line's version of a straight fluorocarbon line. This is phenomenal stuff. In my opinion, P-Line really doesn't make bad line. I don't think I've ever had a bad spool line from P-Line. It's coming in at about $20, which for fluorocarbon standards isn't too bad, but for overall fishing line, it's it's pretty expensive for like 200 to 300 yards of line, right? But it's really high quality stuff. This is definitely if you're wanting to get in just a little notch up from that Seagar, that red label, you're wanting something a little higher quality, you know, you're gonna pay for it, but it's really good stuff. Now, the Seagar red label is known for that red box, but this one right here is probably even better known than the Seagar red label, and this is the Seagar Invisex. Now, the Invisex is coming in at about $24, so we're getting pretty dang pricey for line here. This is gonna be probably the top of the market in terms of price for line. But there's a reason why you will see a lot of professional bass fishermen using Seagar line, because it is the best. It is so incredibly strong and hard to see. It is such high quality line. It doesn't, you know, curl up and doesn't have any, like a lot of memory in your reel. It's just really high quality stuff. I've been using the Invisex on a couple of my setups for a long time, and I absolutely love it. It's expensive, but if you fish hard, or if you have one setup where you're fishing a lot with it, you know, there's no point in buying a nice rod and reel and then putting bad line on. Like, it's just dumb. So, you know, get some good stuff. The Invisex is phenomenal. The Invisex is hands down my favorite fluorocarbon on this list. When I have a little bit left in my spool and I don't want to waste it, I will a lot of times use that remaining, you know, 10, 15 yards of line as extra leader material for my setups that I'm running all braid on. It's just that good of stuff. Also coming in at around $24 is going to be the last fluorocarbon on this list, and this is going to be the Sunline FC Sniper. Now, this stuff gets incredible reviews. I have used it in the past. I don't see too much of a difference between this and the Seagar Invisex. Those of you comment down below if you disagree with me, but this is also one of those lines very similar to the Invisex where it is just such high quality line. You're just going to notice it the second you cast. You're just going to go, holy smokes, this stuff just shoots off the reel. I mean, it is so light. The bite detection is awesome. It's super strong. It's just really high quality stuff. So this is another one along with the Invisex. If you're looking for the best of the best, to definitely check out. All right, enough with the mono and fluoro here. Let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the braid, right? This is when you're going to need a line that floats. You're going to need a line that's super thin to be able to cast light lures a ways, or you're needing a 50, 60 pound braid to, you know, to throw a frog or a 1 ounce punch in weight and some thick mats dragging out a big largemouth, right? There's certain things with braid that you just can't do with any other line. And we're going to start this off here with the best budget line, in my opinion, the Yo-Zuri Super Braid. For a 150 yard spool, this line is coming in at around $13, so this is pretty cheap in terms of braid standards here. It's kind of a funny story in this line for me. I bought a Shimano Stratic when I was at Bass Pro Shops, and I was looking for some line to put on. I didn't have a lot of money left because this was back when I was younger and I wasn't working as much, wasn't making as much money. And I was like, you know what? This Yo-Zuri line is on sale. It looks kind of good. I'm going to throw it on the reel and let's see how it works. Well, I loved it. It ended up being one of my favorite braids that I've ever used in my life. I bought another spool. I still have that spool on that Stratic today. Use it, that white braid. If you guys watch some of my bass fishing videos, that white line on there, that is Yo-Zuri Super Braid that I've been using for a long time. It's super, like kind of slick line, which I like a slicker braid for finesse stuff because it just helps shoot off the reel so much faster. Unlike some of the other braids, like our standard Power Pro, it's a little bit more, you can feel the weaves in there, and it's fine if you're throwing heavy gear, it doesn't matter, right? You're throwing a big bait. But when you're throwing light stuff like a drop shot or, you know, just even trout gear, right? If I have it on a trout setup, I'm using small spinners or something like that. Having a slicker braid is huge. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that on some of the next lines coming up here. The next brand on here is one that you've probably heard of, but you didn't know they made line. And this is Daiwa. So this is going to be the Daiwa J Braid. It's coming anywhere from, you know, 18 to 20 bucks for a full spool. I think I've fished with every single line on this list, but I would say of all of them, the J Braid is probably the one that I have the least amount of experience with. However, I have a lot of friends that fish this as well. They love it. And if you go online, you can just check and see how many 5-star reviews people have for the J Braid. I mean, this line has a cult following. There are people that won't throw any other braid but this braid. They absolutely love it. They won't do anything else, and it's great. Let's face it, Daiwa very rarely makes a bad product, especially in their high-end stuff, and this line is definitely a higher-end braid for sure. Next up on the list here is my personal favorite, and this is the Suffix 832. So I've been using this stuff for a long time. I actually, any of you guys, you longtime viewers, watched a lot of my shark and ray setups back in California. All of those videos of me taking down those big sharks and stuff, that was all on Suffix, right? A lot of my ocean stuff was Suffix because in my opinion, I think it was the strongest line of them all. You're never gonna snap that line. It's super high quality. I've had one spool of Suffix 832 on a reel. I think I've been so cheap, I haven't changed it out in like 6 years, and it's still working. I still check it for nicks in the line, and it's still just incredible. So the Suffix 832, I can't talk enough about how good of a line this is. I absolutely love it. It's coming in at around 17 bucks. I've used this anywhere from trout, 4 pound or 6 pound for trout. And then I've used this, like I said, 65 pound for sharks, rays, and big catfish, right? So I've used a lot of different sizes of this line. Absolutely love it. The last one on this list here, the reason why I put this number 1 is because this has just such a cult following of people that love this line. This is probably, of all the braids, this may be the one I've used the most in my life as well, and I will admit, it is dang awesome, and that is the Power Pro. The Power Pro Super 8 Slick is the one I'm going to put in this list, and the reason why I put this versus the regular Power Pro is because this one has a slick coating over the line that helps it cast so much better than the regular Power Pro. Nothing against the original Power Pro, it's phenomenal. Like, that's a great frogging, or something where you're throwing heavier line, or heavier baits. But on lighter lures, it just doesn't seem to cast as well as a line that has kind of a slick coating on it. And that's why Power Pro made that line, the super slick, so that they can still do both. You still get all the same strength of the original Power Pro, but then you get that castability, as well in there. A little better castability than the original. The Power Pro and the Suffix 832, in my opinion, battle it out for best braid on the market right now, at least for US market. I know JDM has a lot of really cool stuff, but we're not going to get into JDM stuff on this video. If I missed any lines that you really like, or there's one in here that you don't think I should have put in, let me know in the comments below. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Hope you guys got a kick out of today's video. Hopefully you learned something. See you guys next time on Humbug Videos.